So thank you and welcome to this presentation and webinar. Thank you for taking the time out from your day to hear this presentation. The title of the presentation is How a Well-Orchestrated Digital Ecosystem Can Drive Laboratory Efficiency and Innovation. What I'm going to hope that you're going to learn from today and from the presentation is I'm going to tell you a little bit about us, a bit of context to this presentation and LabVantage and the technologies that we provide. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the rising sea of technology that we've seen as a company over the last 10 years or more, which is affecting our industry, our clients, and also the solutions that we're offering as a company. I'm going to talk about 3 different peaks of digitalization that we see our clients go through in terms of the evolution that they go through as they automate their laboratories. And then I'm going to cover 3 technology use cases, mobile IoT, analytics, and then enterprise integration. And then finally, I'm going to cover some of the value drivers for innovation. So this is sort of more around the business case that we see for investment in technologies and investment in innovation in the laboratory. And then finally, we'll finish with some time for Q&A so that you can ask questions at the end of the presentation. So a little bit about us. So LabVantage provides software. We have one seamless solution for the laboratory, a LIMS. The LIMS combines multiple modules, so ELN, LES, SDMS, analytics, lab investigations, sample monitoring, consumables management, and also a work assignment and planning module. And this is one sort of seamless platform that enables our clients to digitalize their laboratory. In numbers, we've got a headcount now of over 1,200 people globally. We've got more than 40 years experience in developing LIMS and related solutions. We have more than 1,500 clients around the world that use our platform, and we currently support clients in over 53 countries. We have more than 300,000 users that are supported by LabVantage every day. And last year, we implemented more than 100 new systems in 2024, and we have a very high client retention rate. From a support point of view, we offer different services. So we offer around-the-sun support to our clients. We also offer our platform in a SaaS fully managed environment. And we also have the largest pool of professional services in the world for LIMS, which has been expanding rapidly over the last 3 years. Recently, we've been winning a number of awards, not just for our platform, but also for our company. So last year, we won both Company of the Year and Product of the Year with Frost & Sullivan. And actually, our product was voted Product of the Year for the last 2 years. We're trusted by global leaders in a range of different industries, from pharmaceuticals and biotechnology through to food and beverage, and all the industries in between, as you see on the slide. And in life sciences, which I know is the main focus for today, many of the world's largest pharma companies use our solution, but also very many small to medium-sized too as well. Some of the reasons why companies have been choosing LabVantage, this sort of summarizes that. So I think the first reason is that we have one integrated platform. So what that means is it eliminates system integration. But it also allows our clients to automate all of the business processes within their laboratory in one platform. We have a comprehensive enterprise SaaS platform. It was the first platform to support customizations. We also have a fully validated version of that as well for our pharma clients. And we use a modern technology stack and a very modern user interface. So it's 100% pure HTML5. There's no Citrix, there's no plugins, there's no add-ons or uploads, so it's zero footprint, and it's also very simple and intuitive. One of the big benefits of our platform is the automation that it provides. So it's one platform that streamlines laboratory workflows, it's integrating all laboratory functions, automating the processes and data capture, and eliminating manual intervention. We also were the first company to introduce AI and advanced analytics to our platform, so enabling our laboratories to perform analytics on their samples, but also to take that data and use that data to predict and prescribe based on the different laboratory types that we have. So we obviously have clients that are using our LIMS in R&D and also in quality. And what we'll do is later in the presentation, we'll show you one of those examples of one of those use cases for analytics. And then finally, one of the other reasons that we're selected is because we can offer fast and pain-free deployment. So we have industry-specific accelerators for different industries like life sciences, and we also have unrivaled functionality with built-in configuration tools to minimize the customizations and accelerate the time to value. So very often with our platform, there's very little need for customization, very little need for coding. The majority of the functionality that our clients need is out of the box and can be configured. So one of the inspirations for this presentation is really been the rising sea of technology in our industry. I saw a presentation about 7 years ago by a gentleman called Max Tegmark. He's a professor at MIT, and this is a TED talk that is very well watched. I think more than 1.5 million people have actually viewed this presentation. And it was about how to get empowered and not overpowered by AI. And he talked about this sort of rising sea. And so in 2018, the coastline was at the level that you see there in the diagram. So at that particular time, AI was being used to play chess, to play games like Go. It was starting to be used for investment, and it was also starting to be used for theorem verification. And he talked about this sea that was going to rise, and he talked about some of the things that were coming. So as we sort of look at this diagram, we can see that pretty much at the top of the diagram in 2025, we're already using AI for art, for cinematography, for book writing, and also for science and everything in between. And some of his key takeaways was that progress is inevitable and transformative, that the importance of beneficial AI to everything that we do, both in work and in play, but also that we must act proactively if we're going to take advantage of this technology. And I think one of the takeaways I'd like you to take away from this is that we do need to act proactively, and one of my goals is to sort of show how you can do that with the different technologies that are available to us. As we sort of think about our rising sea of technology, it's more than AI. So some of the innovations have been the introduction of modern LIMS, and by modern LIMS we mean LIMS that can support a whole wide range of applications in the laboratories, from managing our experiments and our experiment data through to managing consumables, managing resources, and managing the data that we're capturing. ELN and LES was one of the innovations that's helped us capture more data, and has also been extremely helpful to R&D as well as to quality control labs, where lab execution has become a really important way to automate processes, but also ensure that data capture happens in a consistent and repeatable way. Data management has become more and more important. So as our clients have implemented their LIMS and they've integrated instruments with their LIMS, the need to manage that data has become more and more important. And particularly as we've started to capture, not just data, but pictures, images, and other types of data, the volume of that data has increased. And so the ability to manage that, be able to access that, and be able to use that for analytics has become more and more important. Mobile IoT is a new way to capture data, and actually one of the use cases I'm going to show a little bit later. So mobile IoT gives us lots of different options through things like voice capture, but also OCR, optical character recognition, and other beneficial ways to capture data more autonomously in our laboratories. We've also search, as we've increased the amount of data that we have in our LIMS and also from other places within our organization, the need to be able to find and look for that data, either to solve problems or to maybe design better experiments, or to support the analytics, to be able to use analytics to predict and prescribe. The need to find that data has become more important, and we've needed solutions to enable us to do that. Also, integration has become more and more important in our industries. So the LIMS doesn't live in its own ecosystem. The ecosystem that it operates in is company wide. So we have clients that have ERPs, they have project lifecycle management systems, manufacturing execution systems, and other systems. And there are a lot of opportunities to integrate LIMS with those applications to streamline processes and speed things up, and then gain efficiencies, but also help make better decisions faster. And then finally, AI. AI is clearly an opportunity for us in the laboratories, and the ability to integrate that, with our LIMS and our other applications has become more and more important. So that's the rise and sea of technology. Clearly, there's a lot of technology available to us today. What I'm hoping to do in the next slide is help explain the evolution of our clients from maybe initially implementing a LIMS through to maybe using some of these technologies, and the journey that you might go. We've seen sort of three distinct peaks of digital evolution. The first one is just simply going digital, so going from paper to a LIMS. Some of the innovations that have supported that are the modern LIMS. I've already talked about that, the different modules that enable us to digitalize all the different things that we've done in the past, from capturing experiment data to managing consumables to managing instruments, calibration of instruments, and so on and so forth. The second is SaaS. So we've seen SaaS becoming more and more important, particularly over the last 2 to 3 years. SaaS is an opportunity to I guess, outsource the management of the platform. Very often, the platforms, the SaaS, the LIMS platform involves a number of technologies, not just integration with other platforms, but the the modules, the integration with instruments, and so on and so forth. And the need to be able to support that environment is actually put a lot of demand on IT. We're also seeing now that a lot of our clients are under pressure from regulators to show security and show that they're ensuring that there are no vulnerabilities in their system. And so the ability to be able to show that and prove that is really important. And SaaS gives you an opportunity to remove those and actually source those to a company that has expertise in that specific platform. Also, accelerators are really important. So at the very first point of a project to digitalize the lab, the need to accelerate that implementation is really important to help you get value from that. And so accelerators typically look like pre-configured systems for the industry. So that could be pre-configured reports, it could be pre-configured workflows, it could be pre-configured master data, and all of the above. And so accelerators are really important at that sort of early stage, and sort of help you get to that first peak. The second peak we see is really around automation. And so automation can come from a range of different areas. The first is around what we call scientific data management system, and the integration of instrument data and instruments with your platform, automating the capture of results. So that enables you to improve data integrity, but it also increases the speed with which data flows into the LIMS. And so scientific data management systems don't just enable you to integrate the instruments with the LIMS, but it also gives you a platform to manage all of that data coming from instruments, which, as I said earlier, is getting larger and more complex as the instruments in our laboratory become more and more modern. Mobile IoT is another opportunity to automate. So it's a new innovation that we've seen in the laboratory to capture laboratory data typically. So there are now platforms to capture data offline as well as online. There are technologies to enable you to capture voice, so you can actually talk to the LIMS and capture the results through voice. But also we've seen use cases in the lab for OCR, where you're actually using maybe a mobile phone and its camera to capture the results and convert that into data. And all of these technologies automate capture. They automate the process of capturing information and getting that into the LIMS, and then maybe into data lakes to support analytics. And then the third area is really integrating analytics into the lab. So we're seeing more and more use cases where the laboratory is wanting to perform advanced analysis on sample results. So the ability to do that and automate that is part of the process, rather than taking data out of one system and putting it into another platform to support the analytics, and then to bring it back in, which typically requires manual data transfer and potentially impacts data integrity. The need to automate that and automate analytics so that we can do real-time analysis on samples, and also to predict and prescribe. We're seeing this as sort of another area that our clients are looking to automate. And then the third area is really is what we call becoming digitally native. So this is where the LIMS and all the systems that we've talked about before, this is where all of those systems are integrated with your wider ecosystem. So this could be your ERP, your PLM, your manufacturing execution system, or it could be other systems that you have. And that enterprise integration is really important for speed, but also for automation, and also for data integrity. The next sort of area that we're seeing our clients interested in is really then, how do you search? So once we have all of this data, and we have all this data from the lab, but also we have data from other sources, how do you search across all of that? How do you search across all the experiment data that's in your ELN, as well as maybe other sources within the company and outside the company? So we're seeing the need for enterprise search to be able to take advantage of all this data and this digitalization. We need to be able to find that data to be able to solve problems quicker and faster. And then the final area is really enterprise analytics. And whereas previously I talked about analytics at maybe the sample level or at the LIMS level, enterprise analytics is where you're combining data from different sources to predict and prescribe solutions to problems. And as we sort of move from left to right, if we think about the peak on the left to the peak on the right, what we typically see is the organization be able to generate more enterprise value from this investment and this digitalization as you go through these different peaks. And I'll talk a little bit about that at the end of the presentation in terms of some of those areas where we see our clients getting a return on investment. So they're the three peaks. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to walk on and have a look at some technology showcases, some examples of these innovations. So we're going to first take a look at mobile IoT, then we're going to have a look at analytics, and then we'll have a look at enterprise integration. So first one, mobile IoT. So this is automating data capture with mobile IoT. So automating data capture in the laboratory is the nirvana for companies that have invested in LIMS. Mobile IoT has become a new way to achieve this, either online or offline. And so the reason why you would do this is that it reduces and can reduce point-to-point integrations. So if we have integrated and have a mobile IoT application in the laboratory, that's just one interface with the LIMS. That's one application that can now support the capture of data from multiple instruments, from multiple experiments, and it substantially reduces the point-to-point integrations that you might have to do if you're looking to maybe integrate all of your simple instruments or all of your complex instruments. So this is, one of the benefits of mobile IoT. Eliminating data entry errors is a constant challenge, and something that we're looking to do every time we digitalize or have a digital lab project. Improving data integrity for obvious reasons, and then accelerating data capture. These are all the reasons why mobile IoT is beneficial technology. So how do we do that? So we leverage smartphone technology, including OCR and voice capture for both structured and unstructured data. And in this example, the technologies involved are the LabVantage LIMS and the LabVantage mobile IoT application. So what I'll do now is I'm going to pivot to showing you a short video to demonstrate this technology and explain it and show you how it works.
Select result 2. Select result 3. Select result 1. Redo result. Start dictation. Everything there I am speaking. Second speech. Remove. Comma. Enter result. Type result 7.8. Enter result. Back.
Okay. The next example I want to give is around analytics. So we're going to have a look at a use case called what we're calling quality mission control with advanced analytics. So an investment in LIMS is an opportunity for companies to not only monitor and manage the specification of products, but it's also an opportunity to trend results and predict issues and prescribe quality improvement. And that's really where we see an opportunity for analytics to have exponential value to an organization as you're looking to maybe reduce product recalls, reduce hold time, maybe increase and improve the speed of release. So why was this important? Well, the first is to protect brand value. Clearly, product recalls and issues with products impacts that. Eliminating recalls has a huge business impact on supply chain. I spent 6 years in rapid microbiology, and during that time we actually modelled out the value of reducing recalls and also improving product release. And very often the savings were in the millions per site from being able to do this. This is really a big benefit of having a quality control with advanced analytics connected to your sample results. And then thirdly, reducing supply chain costs. So these are all sort of some of the benefits of having an analytics solution like this. So how do we do it? So we first we analyze, we predict, and we prescribe quality issues. So it's about setting specification limits for maybe micro, for chemistry, for sensory, environmental, but it may be also packaging and other things that you might be monitoring. And then it's about measuring against that, and then predicting and prescribing in which direction those different aspects are trending for different products. And of course, if you're a very large global company with multiple labs, multiple manufacturing sites, the ability to see this at a global, a regional, or even a product level is really important, and it enables quality managers to stay on top of product quality globally. But also the ability to predict and prescribe when you're going to go below those limits clearly gives you an opportunity to reduce the things that are described above. So how do we do this? So this is with LabVantage LIMS and LabVantage Analytics. But also, if you have different locations, you might, if you have, for instance, different manufacturing partners that are producing for you, it's also possible to use our portal to capture those results from other LIMS systems to then feed that into the analytics platform. So let's go on, and I'll show you a demonstration.
Hello and welcome to this short presentation of the Quality Mission Control solution. The Quality Mission Control comprises a set of dashboards that provide valuable instantaneous insights to a designated quality control director about KPI compliance in different manufacturing sites of organizations scattered across the globe from a central command center. In this example, we are looking at a sample dashboard that measures deviations in the quality of manufactured samples for a beverage production company. The data from the different manufacturing sites flow periodically from the LIMS application into the analytics solution. Our example company has operations across 5 continents, 15 countries, and 25 production sites. QC is conducted around 3 dimensions, and we are looking at 1,000 records of QC data for around 500 samples for 5 unique products. The three dimensions around which QC is conducted are analytical compliance, which analyzes if the compositions of the manufactured products are within the desired thresholds, the sensory compliance, which reports around the taste profile of the products, and the packaging compliance, which determines if the desired packaging, labeling, and branding compliances have been met with. It is in the best interest of the QC director to always have an understanding whether the compliance criteria are constantly met with across all sites and employ corrective actions if any non-compliance is observed repeatedly. The KPI in this dashboard have been designed to provide such visual inputs at any point in time. The Analytical Compliance Report visualizes the average analytical compliance scores for each of the parameters measured. The overall scores for each dimension across the board are visualized through the metric gauges on the left. At the center, the dashboard highlights the top 3 parameters with most instances of threshold non-compliance, and the top 3 sites which report the maximum instances of non-compliance within a given period. The right-hand side of the widget provides detailed statistical analysis across the central tendencies of the measured parameter values, like mean, median, skewness, kurtosis, etc. By selecting any area of concern, the operator can now drill down to the specific data. For instance, if we click on the parameter turbidity, which is the maximum standard deviation, we can look at the specific samples that have yielded this particular result. The data table below provides relevant insights around when and where these filtered samples were processed, so that follow-up actions can be accordingly initiated. The Quality Mission Control solution can provide many such insights like compliance around test completion, performance of individual sites, compliance fluctuations across specific products, operator performances, and so on. Given the enormous volume of the data that the operator would have had to sift through otherwise to obtain these insights, these Quality Mission Control dashboards have the potential to add immense value to the organization in conducting root cause analysis and quality risk mitigation.
Okay, so that's LabVantage Analytics Quality Mission Control. That's actually one of a library of various different analytics examples or use cases that we have. There's a YouTube video link at the bottom of these videos if you wanted to watch these after. We've also got many other analytics use cases as well, so you'd be more than welcome to watch those afterwards, and maybe we could cover some of those in the questions as well. The final technology showcase I wanted to share with you today is around having one ecosystem that combines your ERP, your PLM, and your LIMS. So, robustness, agility, and speed are vital elements of a world-class R&D and supply chain ecosystem. The integration of ERP, PLM, and LIMS is an opportunity to create competitive advantage. So there's some of the reasons for doing this, for integrating your ERP or your PLM and your LIMS, that it can accelerate development, so it can speed up your getting products to market. It can help you optimize your supply chain. It can help you improve innovation, develop more products by having all of that data integrated and accessible to R&D and to quality control. But also it can increase collaboration. And very often we see clients that have implemented LIMS in both R&D and quality, and then having this integration with ERP and PLM accelerates and improves that collaboration between all parties, so that you can keep developing high quality products, bringing them to market faster, and then developing improved products and continuing that as a sort of a constant improvement loop. So how do we do it? So first, we seamlessly integrate the LIMS and the ERP to streamline workflows, centralize data, and eliminate points of failure. And very often when we look at the end-to-end process in both supply chain and R&D, there are multiple touch points between an ERP, a PLM, and a LIMS, and the integration between them at these different points can completely accelerate those business processes. So what we're going to see in the next presentation is LabVantage LIMS, and then also an integration that we've built with SAP. So this is an off-the-shelf integration that we've built from the partnership that we have with SAP and it enables bidirectional integration between the different systems.
Innovation speed is critical to staying competitive, but complex workflows and fragmented data slow everything down, from discovery to commercialization. Your R&D and manufacturing teams aren't in sync, and bottlenecks are popping up. Weeks go by waiting for manual material approvals, and critical materials slip through quality control tests, leading to costly errors. What if you can overcome these inefficiencies and sync your teams with one integrated data environment? With LabVantage and SAP, you can create an integrated data environment from your scientific and enterprise data, allowing for seamless integration into your enterprise data lake. Our platform combines ELN, LES, SDMS, and advanced AI analytics, all accessible through a single LIMS interface. We partner with SAP to efficiently sync data captured from lab instruments and LIMS with your ERP systems. Quality control results, lab data, and production insights are available instantly, helping teams across domains to work as one cohesive unit. With real-time data, you can align production schedules with supply chain logistics the moment a new formulation is approved. Testing deadlines and results available on LabVantage will be shared with SAP instantly, so your R&D team can stay updated with project timelines and better manage their resources. With LabVantage and SAP, you're not just managing data, you're streamlining your entire product development lifecycle, allowing you to innovate faster and stay competitive. Empowering data-driven innovation for what's next.
Okay, so that's the sort of final technology showcase I wanted to show today. We have many others. So as we sort of go think back to the three different peaks of digital innovation that I talked through, we've got many examples from the very beginning of digital through to automation, and then through to this sort of digitally native lab ecosystem that integrates with other enterprise platforms, which could be ERP, PLM, but it also could be your enterprise data lakes, and it could be other technologies as well. So we've got lots of examples of that, but I hope this is sort of giving you a feel for some of those. The next question that we very often get is, the value side of things. So investing in digital innovation in the lab is clearly requires investment, but it also requires a business case as well. And so working with different clients, over the years, we've come to see some sort of trends around that in terms of, how our clients are justifying those investments, but also identifying some metrics to help sort of measure the business value of their investment in not just LIMS, but the other technologies that I've talked about today. So the first one, as we sort of think about those three peaks, is around compliance. And that's typically where a lot of our clients start their journey. So this is sort of around license to operate, difficult thing to quantify, but it's clearly something that's extremely important. And so this was maybe more of a qualitative benefit, but it's certainly something that sort of drives a lot of the investments that we see in digital innovation in the lab. The second is around reduction in data errors. So we've got a lot of clients that have suffered from that, from data errors in the past. So it could be, wrongly entering sample results, wrongly releasing products. It could be, results that have impacted the development of new products. So the need to reduce data errors clearly can have a big impact on the outcome from the different sort of laboratories that we have. And then the final area around compliance is audit efficiency. So particularly in pharma, we're seeing a lot of clients that are spending more and more time responding to audits. So one of the benefits of having a fully integrated LIMS ecosystem, one that isn't just managing sample results, but it's also maybe managing your consumables, whether your consumables, the consumables used have expired or not, for instance, whether the instruments that you've been using to measure the results are calibrated, all the sort of questions that auditors ask about, or what is the process that you have in place to ensure that the right reagents were used, that the right instruments were used, that the instruments were calibrated. in a fully integrated LIMS ecosystem, you can answer that because you have full audit trail. The whole thing is automated. So that's sort of one of the benefits of the sort of digital ecosystem that we've been talking about today, is that it increases that audit efficiency and ensures your license to operate. The second area is around lab performance. So there are various things that we see, and these are maybe more measurable. So deployment speed is the first thing, because typically anybody looking to invest in LIMS wants to get value from their investment as quickly as possible. So being able to do to reduce the deployment speed and get that value and early, is important. User adoption is another metric that a lot of our clients measure. So the number of users that have adopted a system. System uptime is really important from an IT perspective, and something that particularly SaaS clients look for is that those guarantees of system uptime. We've seen many clients struggle with that as they manage their on-premise deployments because they don't have the expertise necessarily in LIMS. So the ability to ensure that system uptime is really important to the overall value of the investment. Turnaround time is probably one of the key metrics. So we very often see, as people go through this digitalization from left to right, that the turnaround time improves. As you automate things like data capture, analytics, and so on and so forth. So turnaround time is cost of ownership. The clients, we've seen over the last 3 years have been looking at in terms of, what is our total cost of ownership and how can we reduce that. One of the big benefits for clients that use LIMS in both quality and in R&D is that very often you're sharing the investment in the platform. So you're sharing the integration of things like instruments with the platform, sharing the integration with maybe your ERP or PLM, but also things like mobile IoT. So all of that brings down the total cost of ownership and helps you move on that journey from left to right. And then finally, efficiency. So the ability to do more with the same resources. Being able to process more samples, to develop more products. And then the final one, and I think this is really where we see, this is maybe where we need to be looking to build our business case. It's more around the competitive advantage that the investment in LIMS digitalization offers. So this is around how we're actually impacting our stakeholders rather than thinking about just the lab itself. So from an R&D perspective, it's about how does the LIMS increase and improve our time to market and speed to market? How does it help us bring products to market faster? But also, how does it help us, maybe using data and analytics, how does it help us develop better products, bring more products to market, and improve our product development? From a supply chain point of view, it's things like reducing hold time. So we see that with a lot of clients that have maybe got sort of unintegrated systems, and there's a lot of maybe manual data flow. So being able to reduce hold time being a really big benefit of implementing and digitalizing the laboratory. Reducing product recalls. So we heard that on the example, the analytics example with quality mission control. And then maybe also reducing release time, increasing the speed that we can bring products to market, but also reduce maybe products that are on hold and getting those supplies. Still, in the thing. A link to all the YouTube videos, so welcome to obviously view some of the other technology showcases that we have, as well as ones we've shared today. Those in my LinkedIn profile, and I think we're now going to move to questions, Catherine.